That is awesome.
Camera point if you want.
I'm trying to.
There we go. So, I'm constantly flying. I am not standing on my feet. The glider is actually flying my body. We're creating lift. So if I leave the ground, it doesn't matter because I'm automatically controlling my body with the glider so that if I pick up my feet, nothing happens. So most people start freaking out when the glider starts dragging them. But it's okay as long as you got your technique down.
That is freaking insane. You are the man. That is freaking awesome. You have no clue how cool that is. No freaking clue.
There's only a handful of people in the world that can actually do that.
I believe it now.
That's what we're shooting for. Notice how my body is always controlled by the wing. So even if I leave the ground, nothing happens.
That's
You
freaking...
continue controlling your body. And what I'm using is the lift going up and over that hotel. I can actually soar all day if I've got that lift there. So that's what we're looking for. Notice that my butt is never over my legs. See where my feet are?
Yeah, totally.
I'm not holding my body up, I'm holding my position. So my legs are there to hold me from getting drugged. They're digging, they're holding pressure because it's like flying a kite. What happens if you let go of the kite string? Well, the kite goes away.
Right.
So my feet up here are holding the kite string. That's what's loading the glider and allowing me to fly. If I fall backwards, I add brakes. If it's dragging me, I can ease off the brakes and stop dragging. But I have to control the altitude of my butt with the glider so that I'm constantly flying. And then once you get to this point where you're controlling your altitude of your butt with the glider, then that's when you can do all that kinds of wild stuff. But, you ready to do some more, or you want to see me do it again?
Pudge, yeah, I'll see you do it again. That is so freaking awesome. How do you go backwards like that?
I speed up the glider. So if I go hands up, I dive at the ground, I speed up.
Huh.
Full brakes, it slows me down. So you have complete three-dimensional control with just the brakes and weight shift. What you might not see is while I'm throwing my body back and forth in the air, I'm also controlling it with weight shift. So lots of weight shift control, and I'm just flying and soaring in the lift band.
Dude, that's so
Let's get to work, man.
So freaking awesome.
Now you know what's possible.
Fudge cookies.
So I let my hands up, reduce brake pressure, and now I can look how fast I can go. If I'm pulling brakes, I bring myself to a stop, or even fly backwards and start getting drug. So it's all in the brake pressure. That's why when you keep getting drug, I keep going hands up, hands up, hands up. You gotta reduce the brake pressure, and that allows you to speed back into the wind. Now, if you accelerate into the wind, here's another thing we're gonna have you do pretty quick. So you add a little brakes, then you throw your hands up, accelerate into the wind, and then pull brakes. You turn your airspeed into lift, and you come off the ground. And so you just keep jumping. You run backward and jump. And if you get good at it, you know, the higher and longer you can stay up, the better you're doing. So you just build some airspeed, turn airspeed into lift, boom.
How far can you go?
Fly the glider. Well, you have no lift because the air is going forwards on the sand. So you're just going to glide right back down. The glide, the sink rate is about 220 feet per minute. So you'll sink about 220 feet in 1 minute. So if I could jump 220 feet up, I would take 1 minute to come back down. So it just depends on how high you get. But that's how fast you're coming down. All right, let's get you rocking, man.
All right.
You'll be the first one walking up the side of houses. You were almost doing it there.
Oh my goodness.
So I get my body in the glider. People don't realize how incredibly important the weight shift is, but you can control the glider completely with no hands. So this is actually the next goal that we have for you. The first goal is just to keep the wing up. Our second goal will be to kite the glider with no hands, because then you'll get, when you understand the body input enough to actually completely control the glider, you can imagine how much control you have when you put body and hands both together, and now you're twice as good as everybody else. Very few people know how to do just that. Not even other instructors can kite no hands. A lot of them can't, and our students can do it. Generally by day 3, you'll be kiting no hands.
Okay.
So we'll be giving you tools that most people don't have. All right, let's get you back to work. So I stuff the brakes and I slide. So I make it controllable, bring it down. Now, if I want to bring it up, you don't even necessarily need A's. You can just kind of throw your hands up. You just kind of throw your hands up and sink back down into your seat and slide. It needs that resistance of your legs sliding to get the glider back up with this much wind. So now I want to bring the glider down under control. I stuff the brakes, I plant my feet, I slide. Don't walk towards it. If you start walking towards it, it's gonna flick you right into the glider. So you're screwed if you try and walk towards it.
Flick you in, what do you mean?
Well, what happens if you're walking, you cannot prevent yourself from being accelerated. So if something's towing you, if you're sliding, you can control the pressure. But if you start walking, you can't prevent yourself from speeding up. Okay. So what it'll do is it'll speed you up until you basically get yanked off your feet. So it's so important, you have to slide. Anytime you're getting drug, you have to plant your feet. Got it. So here we go. Slide, roll hips, weight shift, and got it. Yeah, weight shift, chest in the glider. I got my chest clear into the riser. See where my chest is?
Yep.
See, this is another thing. All the first day students are going like this and leaning backwards.
Okay.
So you got to get that chest forward into the risers so that when I push down here, I'm actually pulling with my ribs there, my pecs.
Okay.
So that you can kite with your chest and rolling the hips. If you notice here, the risers are changing level. That's how I'm controlling the glider.
Yeah.
Is right here. So
gotcha.
You start contorting your body, but the risers aren't changing level, you're just doing it wrong.
Gotcha.
So you got to keep the glider one step ahead. Okay.
Slide, slide, slide.
Now, if I wanted to disable the glider by myself, I would walk to the side and line the glider up into the wind.
Okay.
But actually, I'll show you. Here you go. So I just run it over to the side, glider hooks in, and boom. Once it hits 90 to the wind, it loads up, and now I need to ball it up before it blows away. And so if it started blowing with the wind, I would run and ball it up as I'm running with the wind.
Okay.
There we go. And that's how I disabled it in higher winds, no problem by myself.
Gotcha.
All right, it's all yours.